Hi, my name's Jesse Gold and I'm the Director of Operations for Robert Gordon & Associates, and this is the first of what will hopefully be a series of screencasts aimed at demystifying technology for home users, business users, and education users as well. Today's screencast, the first of many, is aimed specifically at education users. But don't let that discourage you. If you run a small business or if you're just watching this from home, the topic of today's screencast is Google Docs. And in particular, I'm focusing on one feature of Google Docs called Gadgets. But that should just give you a taste of how powerful and useful Google Docs can be for anybody. So stick around for the next 10 to 15 minutes and hopefully you can follow along as well. Without any further ado, I'm going to disappear from your screen and let's get right into it. So the first thing I need to do is I need to pop open a web browser. I'm using Firefox, but you could use whichever web browser you prefer, such as Internet Explorer or Safari. And I'm going to just type in docs.google.com. As soon as I do that, it takes me to the Google Docs login page. Now, by this point, you're probably wondering, well, what the heck is Google Docs? And in plain English, Google Docs is an online office suite, similar to Microsoft Office, except that it lives on the internet, and so do all the documents that you create with it. Now, why would you want to use an online office suite? Well, for first, it's free. Second of all, the fact that all your documents live online isn't a bad thing because it means that you don't have to go fumbling for USB keys. You don't have to send your documents back and forth between home and work or home and school by attaching them to emails. Wherever you are, so long as there's an internet connection, your documents are there as well. And because they're online, Google Docs also facilitates collaboration with other people on individual documents. So if you're working together with a team and trying to edit a document together, it's greatly facilitated by working in something like Google Docs. So if you want any more information about Google Docs, you can simply click the play button on this great video called Google Docs in Plain English and watch it. It's right on the main Google Docs page. Now, if you already have a Gmail account, or any other Google account for that matter, you already have the login credentials to go into Google Docs. And you can just enter your username right there and your password right there and click the sign in button. If you don't have a Gmail account, you can just click the Get Started button below, fill out a very short form. You can see how short it is. Click the I accept create my account button, and a few seconds later you too will be able to log into Google Docs. I'm going to go back a page and use my existing Gmail account, type in my password, and click the sign in button to gain access. Now, one of the things you'll notice about Google Docs is even though it's on the internet, it has the look and feel of a desktop application. And that's very important. It's quick, it's responsive, and it works very much like something like Microsoft Office, Microsoft Excel, or PowerPoint looks and feels like. So if you're used to any of those programs, then there's a very short learning curve when you're getting up to speed on Google Docs. And right here I see some saved documents that I've worked on today, earlier in this week, and older. Now, normally I'd go to New Document and start a new word processing document, presentation, or spreadsheet, but I've already started a document. It's called Word Activities 2, and that's the one we'll be working in today. So I'm going to go ahead and click to open that up. And you'll see a toolbar here, very similar to the one in Microsoft Excel. And you'll see menus with drop-down menu items, just like Excel. Same type of menus, File, Edit, View, Format, as you'd see in a desktop application. So again, this should be pretty familiar to you. Now, I've already started this word list, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to be looking at vocabulary lists and games that we can create with them. So I've just typed in a couple of things. dog, cat, and some hints, barks and purrs. And we could go on and type in other animals like lion, and type in other hints like roars. Now, I've gone ahead and completed this list to save time, so I'm going to go down to the bottom and click on a second sheet where I already have that list completed. And here it is, and you'll notice that I've also added categories at the top. So we have 4 columns: animals, animal hints, foods, and food hints. And to get started creating my activities, my word game activities, I'm going to select these 2 columns by dragging across them. Now I'm going to go up to the Insert menu, and I'm going to go down to the Gadget menu item and click Insert Gadget. When I do this, a window pops up, and I have the ability to choose what kind of gadget I want to add to my spreadsheet. And there's a whole list of gadgets down here. We're looking at the featured gadgets, but if you knew what type of gadget you wanted, you could filter your gadget by these categories on the side here. I happen to know that the gadgets I want are about halfway down the featured list, so that's where I'm going to go. And the first one that I want to show you is the flashcard gadget. So now that I found it, I just have to click Add to Spreadsheet. Once I've done that, I'm just going to drag it to the side so I can give it some room, and I'm going to give my gadget a title. Notice that because I pre-selected my columns under animals and animal hints, it's already filled in what columns I'm going to be using to create my gadget. If I didn't do that, I could just select them after the fact, or indeed type it in. I'm using cells A2 to B7. There's A2. There's B7, and as I drag across them, it enters them. I'm going to give myself a title, in this case, Animal Flashcards, and I'm going to click the Apply and Close button. A few seconds later, I get a series of flashcards. Now, if I need to, I can just drag this window open like any other to make sure that all my flashcards are showing. And indeed, I have a list of animals here. Now, what I actually want to do is I want to show the hints, not the animals. So I'm going to click the Flip Cards button and switch those around. And now I have a bunch of hints, and my students can guess what animal makes that noise or does that action. So I'm going to guess that something that purrs is a cat. And if I want to check that, I can click the Answer button, and lo and behold, it is a cat. Now, if you click on it by accident, clicking the Answer button again removes the answer. I can do all sorts of neat things with these, such as shuffle the order of the cards. And once I've answered it, what roars? Well, a lion roars. If I'm correct, I can remove that card from the list, and now there's only 5 words left to go. At any time, I can also hide all the answers or show all the answers as I like. And if I want to reset the game for a different group, I can do that too. So that's a flashcard game, and it took me about 30 seconds to create. Pretty awesome stuff. Now, if I want to get rid of that gadget, I have this little downward pointing arrow, and if I click on that, I get a menu with a few commands, including delete gadget. Away it goes. I have another list, and one of the neat things about Google Docs and some of these gadgets is that they work in other languages. So one neat thing is that the flashcard gadget works in non-Roman languages as well, like Chinese or Hebrew or Arabic. So I've used the Google Translate tool to translate some of these animal words into Hebrew. And if I click on that sheet, there's my Hebrew word list, and I've kept the English hints. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to drag across this. I'm going to go Insert Gadget and pick that same flashcard gadget. I'm going to skip the title this time. Drag it out, and again, flip the cards so I get the hints. Now, if I'd put the hints in the first column, I wouldn't have to flip the cards. And I'm going to guess what purrs. Well, I'm not sure, but I know what barks. a dog barks, and I think that dog in Hebrew is kelev. So I'm going to check, and indeed, dog is kelev in Hebrew. So I can remove that answer from the board. And if I show all, there's all my translated words and all of the hints. You could do different languages like I've done, English and Hebrew, or you could do the hints in the other language as well. So Hebrew, Chinese, French, or English flashcards. There's about 40 other languages, lickety split.